And welcome to the chaos, everyone. We're having a great morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time zone you're in. Welcome to Served Up Sundays, where JJ apparently had a very boozy brunch, and my morning has been absolute chaos. We're doing fabulous. JJ, how the fuck are you?
I'm toasty. I'm walking into this toasty, and I've got a large glass of mixed drink that's clear on purpose, so y'all don't know what's in here. That no one knows. If anyone looks, I'm drinking ice water.
Mm-hmm.
It's not ice water, but I had a very boozy lunch.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying time zones.
Till 1 p.m.
Yeah, you're at 1 p.m. I'm at 4 p.m. So I'm like early dinner. Like it went from brunch to early dinner. So
love that. I'm rocking the first batch of hot bread and rum for the season. I'm excited. It's delicious.
I'm so sorry. I just made that. I made that drink stronger than I thought I did.
Love that for you. I've been meal prepping all weekend, which means I have a lot of half meals in my apartment currently, and it's been a mad dash every time I'm like, oh yeah, I have to feed myself now and not just in the future. It's fine.
So real. My problem is that whenever I meal prep, I will either eat all of the meal prep that I just made because I just made food, which means that I need to eat the food I just made, but I just made a large batch. So I end up trying to I will eat like 4 days worth of food in one night because I made the food, and I'm like sitting there and I'm like, this was supposed to last me all week, and it's not going to last me all week. Or I will meal prep and then immediately order delivery, even though I just spent a ton of money on a week's worth of food, and I'm like, nope, I just cooked for 4 hours. It's time to order Chinese food. Like, nope, exactly. This all disgusts me. If I had dim sum, I'd order dim sum.
I love dim sum. I love good dim sum, not whatever dim sum I ordered last week. That was a mistake. I'm going to stick to only trying one dim sum restaurant in the entire city because I got an A+ first try and never trying any others.
Or counter option, next time I come visit, we do a dim sum tour.
But I got bad dim sum last week and now I'm perturbed.
But then we can make fun of the bad dim sum.
I don't think the stomach would appreciate that.
Okay. I thought it would be fun.
It would be cute in theory. I just know myself and my tolerance for not great food, and it's very low.
Okay. So, I'm sorry for trying to be cute. I
You are
apologize.
cute.
I'm very
What
cute.
have you
I'm
been
feeling myself.
enjoying, other than your boozy dinner, as I like to call it?
What else have I been enjoying? Um, I am about to get emotional. This
Oh.
show made me emotional. I have yesterday,
Mhm.
after another boozy dinner, not as boozy as this one, but a little boozy. I came home and I was like, I'm gonna pour myself a nightcap, and I'm just gonna watch this new show. Everyone's talking about it. High Potential.
Okay.
Why? It's this new show on ABC, and it is about a woman who is a mother of three. She has an IQ of 160, and she was a cleaning lady at the LAPD,
Mhm.
and now she helps them solve crimes.
Hmm. I just
And
remembered I forgot to turn my lights on. Ignore that. Continue.
and it's so procedural, like it's
Mhm.
so classic procedural television, which I love. And procedural television often stars characters with like super high intelligence, or like abnormally high intelligence, and that have trouble communicating with the world and everything. What I loved about this show, it was that it's probably the most it it has several problems with how it shows neurodivergency and high
Mhm.
intelligence. Several problems. It is also one of the most accurate representations of like a high intelligence autistic person who's also living in the world.
Mm.
Like again,
Mhm.
she has an ex-husband. She has three kids. She's trying to raise her three kids. The reason why she takes the job is so that she can like get her car back because she can't afford her car in
Mhm.
LA, right? Like
Yeah.
she has no problem like connecting with other people. Like there no, she has problems connecting with other people because her mind moves too fast. Not that
Yeah.
she doesn't feel empathy or has trouble feeling empathy. Like she can express empathy to another person. And we like see
Yeah.
that multiple in the first episode. She connects with a victim. Like by herself. Like she's not even involved in the case yet. She just sees a person in trouble and sits down with them and is like, I'm so sorry you're going, like, and it's just like the moment of like, wow, a neurodivergent person can also feel and show emotion and empathy, and not it be a wow moment, not it
Mhm.
be like a surprise, not it be something that they struggle to do, but something that just exists with them as a person. And
Yeah.
like the problems with communicating with another person are something that, again, this is a woman who has three kids. She's an adult woman. She's lived her whole life. Like she has a lot of life behind her. She has gone through the world. She has enough time to like also understand what her problems with communicating with people are, and both
Mhm.
experience those problems and know how to acknowledge them and navigate around it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, this is a person. Like this is a
This is a
like
real
watch.
person.
This is a real person. Like is again, there are problems with the way that they show intelligence and all these things,
Mhm.
but also like it felt so identifying. Like I was like, I see myself in this person so
Yeah.
much. Of like, and also the thing of like the way that they show her intelligence is often in moments of like you didn't see that. Like of course I saw, like her mind just moves
Mhm.
a lot faster. She like makes connections that nobody else makes. Some of them are ridiculous. Some of them aren't shown well. Others of them are like, oh no, that's exactly how my mind works. And I was
Mhm.
like, she can do that and also like be a person who has emotions, who has an ex-husband, who also not only has an ex-husband, but has like an ex-lover besides that. Like she has three kids. Two of them are from one guy, and one of them is from another guy. Like
Mhm.
she's had multiple loves in her life. Like she's had multiple. Like it isn't like I think the thing is like it captures kind of a Sherlock Holmes type of thing. Like there's a Sherlock Holmes
Mhm.
aspect to it, but like Sherlock Holmes, it's always like there was only ever one woman, and it's like that's
Mhm.
not what's in the books, but like the way that like hyper intelligent characters are often described as like having and finding love and sex is like, and like love and sex are both separate, and which they are, and but are also intertwined. Like it's a complicated issue, but they make it like a black and white thing, and like the character is like has to discover that they're intertwined, which is like for some people they are separate, and for some people they are intertwined. Like there's like this whole thing about how they portray love and sex with these like hyper intelligent characters, and it's like, no, she's experienced love multiple times in her life. She has experienced like it was just like, this is an actual person, and I'm so happy that this exists. I also think it's very fascinating that this type of humanity given to an intelligent character is happening with a white blonde woman. I think there's a lot of layers to that, who's also already a mother. I think there's a lot of layers to that. A lot of layers going on. A lot of layers happening. We love onions. But it was still just incredibly like affirming to see, where I was just like, oh, this is a person. So I'm watching that.
What was the name of it?
High Potential.
High Potential. Okay.
Again, there's a lot of problems. I'm not saying it's without its problems. I just felt very seen.
Yeah, we can recognize the problems within a piece of media and also feel incredibly seen by it. Like, we can hold both those truths at the same time.
Speaking of holding two truths in one's hands, there's a thing that an OT3 that has taken over my life.
It's also taken over my life. I can't wait to dive into those fanfics. Oh my god.
There is a certain doctor who is also holding two truths in his hands, and it's called being attracted to this nurse practitioner Avery and being attracted to a nurse named Tristan. And you know what?
Dying.
Doctor Odyssey is just...
Doctor Odyssey has gripped my entire heart. And I'm so mad about it because I did not want to watch this show. I'm like, I'm not watching this show. And then you said that there was, potential there. And so I dove in. And now I am hooked. Like, they've got me. Like, I am invested. I think it's going to turn out badly for me. But regardless, I'm here. I'm sad.
I don't even know why I watched the first episode. I think I was just in a mood. I think I had just watched 911 and 911 Lone Star, the first episodes, because I didn't get to see them because of the hurricane. And I think I was just like, I was laying down. I was kind of waiting for us to do the show that night. And I think it was on my streaming service, like as like another thing to watch and the same thing. And I was just like, you know what? I really, really love Philippa Sue. I'm gonna do it. I didn't want to watch it either. I was violently opposed to watching the show. And then I clicked play. And the OT3 really hit. There. It's just there. Like, it's so wild to watch because it's like, I've never seen a throuple presented on television in this manner. Like, on this scale. Like,
and so explicitly in like the first episode, like instantly.
Exactly.
The pilot was so throuple coded. I don't know how they got away with that if that's not where they're going.
Like it feels almost like a queer bait, and that the way of like I think the problem is that I feel like it's more likely that Joshua and Tristan not Joshua because it's actors Joshua Jackson, Max and Tristan are just gonna like have like a one night stand or something, and that'll be it. Like they'll never do the throuple. But
that breaks my heart a little bit. But you're right. That's probably
it feels like a queer bait. Like it feels like, or not even a queer bait. It's like, what other option is there?
Yeah, it's
like
so
I'm not
coded, especially after that episode 3. Like everything about episode 3 was like, this is a queer man telling his story about his parasocial relationship with this TV show character. I literally,
when they were doing the examination scene with Ted, I was losing my mind. Also, the fact that they had real life Ken on the show, I think was wild.
Yeah.
Absolutely, like, incredible. B, I feel like it was such a commentary on the Ken Barbie phenomenon of 2023, which I'm kind of, both I'm like, wow, this feels a little out of touch time-wise, but also I was like, oh no, we're actually removed from the phenomenon enough that we can comment on it. I thought it was really fascinating. Joshua Jackson has, like, I understood that. I understand from, like, an aesthetic point that he was like, he's a very attractive man, and there have been a couple moments, but like the way that he looked at Ken, I was like, oh my god, I am starting to blush. Like, what the heck?
Yeah, like giggling, kicking my feet. It was so adorable. I died at the "Are you fluid?" line because that answer was yes, unequivocally.
It wasn't just the "Are you fluid?" It's literally leaning forward. Yeah. Take this question in the manner that it's meant, or the manner that it's intended.
Yeah.
What manner is that, do you say, Tristan? Like, very clearly. I'm sorry, if you do not want me to ship... Okay, and I'll get to... No, I have a separate thought about the three, but if you do not want me to ship two men together, do not cast two actors with enough sexual attention that I could cut it. Like, I feel like I should cut it with a knife, spread it on toast, and, like, gnaw on it while I'm watching. Like,
yeah.
Throw some Parmesan cheese on it and some noodle. Like, why is it butter?
Tristan is I fucking Max, like, this entire episode. Like, constantly. Like, there's been looks before, but, like, this episode, it was really egregious. Especially in that conversation about women in authority positions. And I'm like, not just women, bud.
Not just women, man. Not just women. Not to mention, the end of the episode, they're gonna go to a hotel, lay in a bed, order room service, and watch Archer. Archer, who is a canonically bi character.
Yeah. Real fucking gay.
Anyone out there watching, if you were to say that to me, I would probably propose in like 2 weeks. And I don't even like Archer that much because it has trauma. I have trauma associated with it, but I'd still, like, I'd suffer through it and marry you next week. Like, that is like the best bi date I've ever heard. But also, you know what's so fascinating is we're talking about the chemistry between, because I think Tristan and Max have the most chemistry, but I don't think they work without Avery. And if that is not the true sign of a throuple, like, not a throuple, like a true, which is rare in polyamorous relationships, of like a equal throuple. Like, that is a very hard dynamic. It's very not common. There are usually primary partners and second. There's a whole thing. The fact that this is like a true, I don't want to say true, I forget what the actual term is, but like an equal. Yeah, an equal. It's an equilateral triangle throuple. It doesn't work without Avery, which is wild because I think Avery is the least interesting character out of the entire main cast, which is only 4 people. But also, Avery only works because Philippa Sue is playing like Avery. Because I watched it, I'm like, oh yeah, no, it makes sense why everyone's falling in love with Avery. It's Philippa Sue. Like,
yeah, I don't know how you could look at Pippa and not fall in love with her, like, instantly. I think she'll get more interesting as the season goes along. I think there's a lot of potential there, but right now she's just kind of vibing.
With some bad storylines. With some bad storylines.
This captain also, I would rank the captain under Pippa. What's her character's name? Avery?
I would agree. Yeah.
Yeah, but still, she's the weakest of the 3 at this time, and that's absolutely no fault of hers. It is 100% the writing. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. 100% the writing. I'd also like to say, before this becomes not a 911 podcast, and here comes a Doctor Odyssey. I think the problem is this is becoming a Ryan Murphy television show podcast.
Which Ryan Murphy stands, and I hate that for us.
No, we are not Ryan Murphy stands. We are the stands of the creative people behind Ryan Murphy shows. Yes.
Correct. Absolutely. He's not associated or in any realm of conversation within our conversations, at least.
Yeah, because the shows that he has creative input in are not shows that we like.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He just likes to slap his name on things and get money.
Yeah. He's involved in, like, the Mendez Brothers show and the Netflix. Like, he's over there.
Yeah, no. He can stay over there. We'll keep him there.
He can stay over there. As long as he keeps, like, putting money behind this network television shows that he has no... Like, sure.
Yeah.
I will suffice.
I've also continued my Survivor deep dive, and by deep dive I mean working through the random rankings of some people for their top 10 episodes or seasons. I'm currently on season 25, the Philippines. It's going well. I think I'm on like episode 10 of that one. So I've got like 7 more to go. We'll see how it goes. This season, I didn't understand why it was ranked so highly after like the first episode. I was like, this is not it. And then we got a couple episodes in and I was like, I see the vision.
Nice. Did I tell you my mother grew up in the Philippines?
I knew it was somewhere around there, but I could not have told you that specifically.
She grew up in the Philippines and then she was in Hawaii for a little while. But yeah, so Philippines is a place that I very much want to visit one day. It will not be on the cast of Survivor, though.
Nor should it. I have so many ethical questions about this show that I'm trying really hard to turn my brain off. Just know I'm having them, and I'm trying real hard to keep this a fun, goofy time. But, you know, they're making some choices. Especially in the older seasons.
I do have a question. It reminds me because you have a tapestry of Seattle Kraken behind you.
This one?
Who is the very, very attractive player on Seattle Kraken right now who is going viral on TikTok for how attractive he is?
Is it number 29?
Do you think I remember anything but his face?
It's probably Vince Dunn. So the previous really hot Kraken is Alexander Wenberg. We traded him to the Rangers mid-season last year, and now he's on my beloved Sharks. Love that for him. He has a wife and like kids and stuff, and they're adorable. I think his wife just had a baby, a second one, ? Anyways, currently probably Vince Dunn, because I've been seeing Vince Dunn edits on my TikTok page, you know, when I open it once every like 5 days or whatever. What can I tell you about Vince Dunn? When he got here, he had bopped around a little bit, and then he played for us for a season, and then in the off season, he worked really fucking hard because he wanted to be on Adam Larson's line. And so he like worked his ass off all summer, and then he got to be on the top D pairing with my beloved Adam Larson. He's adorable. His girlfriend is affiliated with some hoity-toity people. Good for them, I guess. And yeah, that's all I got for you.
Okay, cool. It keeps coming up on my For You page, and I'm not complaining.
There was one of with like the Start a Riot song from the Spider-Verse. That was a good edit. It was solid. And not like super thirst trappy, which I appreciate for people who I have to look in the eye occasionally.
I don't have that problem.
Listen, I'm a little irritated at one Philip Grubauer. I probably shouldn't be telling this story on air, but I'm gonna tell it anyways. Philip Grubauer, I adore to pieces. He's a goalie. I'm not really a goalie person. I don't get the hype I understand that people are like fervent, I think that's the word, about goalies. Good for them. I respect it. I just don't understand it. Anyways, this man has been an influence in many of my life choices because he makes funny videos on the interwebs, which is great for me. However, I do currently have beef with him because on one Tuesday a.m., I was trying to get to work because we had an unreasonably early call time. Apparently, the plaza had been taken over by this like blue carpet thing where all the players were entering through the front and not through their hidey hole back entrance like they normally do. And of course, as soon as I was frantically overwhelmed trying to get to the employee entrance, guess who shows up?
Incredible.
And I get stopped by security in a suit, not like the normal building security. So I was like, oh, they mean real business. And that was fine. And I was a little irritated. And then I went to work and went throughout my day. And then I show up to one Wednesday concert where I'm working, I'm doing my thing. And all of a sudden, a group of very large men start walking towards the owner's suite. And I'm like, really? Really, Groovy? Are you stalking me? He was the first one I saw, for the record. Apparently, their idea of team bonding is showing up to their place of employment on their day off. Which, relatable, but also, can you not? Can you not cause a hullabaloo in the middle of the hallway? That would have been great.
Fantastic. I think goalies are like the drummers of sports teams.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah. It's like if you get it, you get it. And if you don't get it, you don't. Like everyone else, most people's eyes are focused on the flashy, the forwards, the people making the big moves, the bass, the frontmans, the lead guitarist. But the people who are focused on the drummer are focused on the drummer.
Yeah.
The people who are focused on the goalies are focused on the goalies. And they're the ones who, at the end of the day, are holding down the line. Drummers and goalies alike.
Yeah. What does it say about me that lower, like, bass, low brass, low woodwinds, and defensemen are my two interests? Not to just call myself out with that one.
You liked Niall from One Direction.
I was never a One Direction person.
I know, but you would have liked Niall from One Direction. That's what it says about you, which is great because Niall, I think, is the best musician out of all of them. Musician. I didn't say best singer. Everyone, calm down. I said musician. Niall's last two albums, his latest album, The Show, is not as good as the one before, but it's still really, really good. Anyway, this is a conversation for me and Liz to have. But I think what it says is that if you were to date a front man, you would get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And a drummer or a goalie is too intense for you.
Yeah.
You need someone
I love
who
a
is going to...
supporting character.
You need a supporting character. Like, you can't... A protagonist? No. But also, you can't do a... It's like... It's protagonist versus Lancer. You can't do a protagonist, but you really can't do a Lancer.
No.
You need, like, you need a supporting character.
Yeah. Wow. Great. Now that we've, like, just put all that out for the world to see forever, you want to talk about some 911?
Sure, I'm sure you will find a moment to roast me in this conversation, as quid pro quo.
Yeah, usually if we're roasting, it's pretty balanced.
Maybe not roast, but like to air out and psychoanalyze the other.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was more of a psychoanalyze. I mean, if we're going to talk about Lone Star first, we can talk about my unhealthy obsession with how attractive Judd Ryder is.
He wasn't even really in this episode. You saw his face like twice.
Best moments of the episode.
Jesus
Only person who was competent the whole episode. Man showed up, had 2 moments, and was
Tommy
both.
Vega?
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
gosh. Oh my gosh. We'll talk about the 911 cast and how hot they are and their photo shoots later. The OG cast. Because they've been releasing some photo shoots. But my God, I do think that the Lone Star cast is hotter than the OG cast. And I will say that on the internet. That's out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Like, overall average attractiveness levels, much higher.
Much higher. And that's a high bar. Let's just say that's a high bar. That is a high standard. We're talking about the upper echelon.
A very high bar.
But Judd Ryder had 2 moments in this episode, and he was both competent, humble, showed humility, humor, all the H's. Humble, humility, handsomeness, hotness.
Keep it going. Hunger?
Hunger. Harrowingness. Heroic. Habsburg. I don't know.
I was just gonna let you keep going. Yeah. So Lone Star, episode 3, we finally get into like the meat and potatoes of this train derailment. It was basically the entire episode was on site. We got some fun storylines. We've got Marjan's inability to follow orders. We've got Owen Strand being a dumbass. We've got Tommy Vega being competent and wonderful. We've got the
and also a dumbass.
And also, yeah, but affectionately, an emotional dumbass.
No, she made the bad decision. That woman was dead when they found her, and they should have known. Yes, the morphine was great, but they almost killed themselves. They got lucky with the change of the wind. She knew. Yeah. That woman was dead when they found her.
She wasn't gonna leave her. And she made
Yes, but she put the lives of her 2.
She was not trying to put her team's lives, because she would have commanded them to leave, and they said no.
Yeah, which is why she should have made the decision that she knew that they were going to follow her.
Mm-hmm. All right, we'll get into that in a minute.
The lovable dumbass. Would I have made the same decision? Absolutely. Yeah. But that's not correct.
Are we not going to talk about Owen Strand doing the exact fucking thing, but way worse?
Yeah, but I expect it from Owen Strand. That's par for the course from Owen Strand. The problem is they're not killing off Rob Lowe. I don't think they're going to kill off Gina Torres yet, but there's a much higher risk of that.
They better not. I'd find them and take them
We'd
out.
stop watching the show.
That too.
I would get someone to just send me the clips of Judd Ryder in the rest of the show. Just Judd Ryder.
All right, and our final storyline is Carlos and the girls and whatever its fucking name is, the Reverend.
The guy from Lucifer. The guy who plays Gabriel on Lucifer. That's how I remember him. He's the guy who played Gabriel on Lucifer.
All right, where do you want to start?
Let's talk about... Let's just get into it. Let's get into the Gina Torres of it all.
Okay.
Let's start high. I will. It is. She made the great move. She made the good move. Like I'm just being facetious and ordinary.
Facetious. How dare you be facetious?
Honestly, if we did the show on Friday, we should call it Facetious Friday. With how often we are facetious.
Do you have any clue what that was a reference to?
I am too boozy. I'm too boozed up.
It's this really random play called Shoestring Theater that my high school did that was fucking fabulous. And
No, I don't know
basically,
that play.
it's a play about a theater putting together like a really crappy like shoestring production of some fairy tale. I was gonna say Cinderella, but I think it's just all of the fairy tales. Like the storyline's a hot mess, but it's hilarious because you have people playing like the characters and people playing the actors of the characters, and it's just lovely and delightful. But one of the lines in there was that line, and then it's immediately followed by Pepper. What's facetious?
Nice. Nice.
It's incredible. Anyways, now that we've got obscure theater reference of the day out of the way.
Well, speaking of obscure theater reference, I just filmed and submitted on Friday
For the last 5 years?
for the last 5 years. And it's very exciting. And I'm normally not proud of my self-tapes because I'll pick apart single thing about them. And I'm like, I could do it again and I could do it better. And I usually do. That's the problem with self-tapes is that like, I will do 40 self-tapes and the last 5 will be better than the first 5, which means if I do 40 more, they will be better than the ones before. It's an awful cycle. But because of course I'm actually eventually getting worse and I'm just not seeing it. But these 2 self-tapes, I'm actually like, I listen to them and I'm like, because they're both songs. Both of the pieces are songs. And I listen to them and I'm like, yeah, both of them are technically out of my range. And I listen to them and I'm like, damn. If I went to a performance of these and that was what I was given and I paid a ticket for it, I would not walk away upset. And that is very rare for me to say.
That is very good. I love that for you. I'm so stoked.
Back to the show.
Tommy Vega. She was here. She made some calls. She had a great time. I don't know if she had a great time. I had a great time watching her. We start the episode with them going through triage and loading up all the patients into the responding ambulances and getting them sent off. And then Wyatt gets a call. Well, Wyatt calls the school, and the school is like, I was just about to call you. So they fuck off to deal with the chemical burn around the kid's arm. And then they find the missing reporter. I'm so glad we called both of those. As soon as they found the camera op, I was like, oh, we're looking good.
Yep. We were cooking with gas last week.
We really were. You know who else was cooking with gas? The chlorine gas tanker.
That was bad, but I loved it.
It was bad. Thanks.
It exploding. Chlorine gas is everywhere. We are tracking it. Wyatt is tracking it, being like, hey, wind shifting.
He's a fucking meteorologist. Good for him. Where'd he learn that? Truly. No clue.
Well, he had a lot to do when he wasn't doing physical therapy with
Real
Judd. Will I use every instance possible to bring back up Judd Ryder? Absolutely.
I noticed.
Tracking the gas. They get to the school. They realize they get everyone evacuated. They check out the little boy. We love Tommy interacting with the kid. Like, the way that they interacted with the kid in that moment.
Good. Yeah.
So good. Nancy,
and the
too.
kid was great, too.
Great performance.
We love kid actors. Imagine being, like, 8 and acting against Gina fucking Torres?
Oh, I would have had a meltdown because I was in love with Gina Torres at 8. I mean, not much has changed. But, like...
Still.
I would have had a meltdown. Mm-hmm. I also would have been scared out of my mind because she was an enemy spy to me at 8 years old. So...
Brilliant.
Great performance by the kid. Loved They get everyone evacuated. I loved when they're like, we have to go back in because they realize that there is a missing person, that the reporter is missing, and Tommy is like, "You guys go, you take my team," and they're like, "No," and Nancy is just like, "Because why?" Like,
because
it's the most
why?
because why? And I'm like, "Oh yes, Nancy gets it." Like Nancy, the real one of the 126, truly.
She has
Cuts
the
through
most
all of it.
like media savviness of all of them.
Exactly. Like her responses are gonna stand the test of time. Because why?
Brilliant. No, Nancy did not get much this episode, but what she did was fucking phenomenal. She knocked it out of the park every time she opened her mouth.
Part of me wishes that like Lone Star, 'cause there are so many moments in Lone Star that are just like TikTok sound worthy. And it's just not a big enough show for it to catch on in that way. But everything that Nancy said this episode was just like, that should be a TikTok sound.
Yeah.
The line, delivery, the whole bibbidi bobbidi bang.
Brilliant. Anyways, they find her. She's obviously, covered in chlorine gas and not doing too hot. But the ambulance gets taken over by the gas, so they hole up in the school and barricade themselves. And Trina, reporter lady, was very concerned about the boy, and she gets a beautiful last moments.
Yeah.
It was good.
That was emotional.
And then we get my beloved Tommy Vega on the radio talking to Judd about what to do when they don't make it. Giving him her safe combo and everything. Beautiful, touching. And then all of a sudden, that gas, whoop, retreats, which is not how airflow works, but that's fine. It's television.
And I also love TK holding up. It's like, hey, it's working.
The fucking desk fan. Adorable. Yeah, no, TK was very precious this episode. He did not have a lot going for him, but the himbo energy was off the charts.
This is not going to be TK season, and I'm okay with that.
I love that. Honestly, I like that better. I don't want it to be TK season ever fucking again. We had too much of TK season, and that ended up with like 4 comas in the hospital, and now it's 4 too many.
Yeah. We get it. Ronan looks great laying in a hospital bed. We're a little tired.
Yeah. I've lost it. Anyways, my favorite moment in this entire episode was when when the gas retreats and Tommy goes, I have to change the combination to my safe. And Wyatt was like, yeah, that'd be wise. This is recorded.
So real of both of them.
So real. That was like, when it's like those very human moments, like literally, last time I was at work, somebody had dropped like their wallet somewhere and had like paused all their like cards or whatever until they got it back. And as they were leaving, I was like, don't forget to reactivate your cards. And that's what that line was giving me. I loved it. It was like when these like TV shows take a moment to be human, it really makes the show for me.
Yeah, it was delightful.
It was delightful.
There's a little bit more to Tommy's storyline, but I think we'll cover that in the Carlos section.
Yeah.
Do we want to do the actual train disaster now?
Yeah. Let's get into it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this wasn't.
So we had the explosion from the fuel tanker, and then everybody's knocked out and disoriented, and they're checking for shrapnel. and all of our people are okay. Great. We love that for them. But in the explosion, another car was hit by a piece of shrapnel and was releasing chlorine gas. Lovely. So they all monitor the winds and like suit up and get everybody evacuated. And then Marjan and co. try to patch the hole so that no more is being released. And, you know, Marjan does Marjan things. She gets a little fucked up with her, like, hands and shit from, you know, being all up in chlorine gas. So great for you. So healthy.
Surprise, surprise. Yeah, everyone, like, you just say, because the way that Marjan went about it was very Marjan, but,
Yeah.
like, who of the 126 wouldn't have done that? Like, father like children, because and Marjan called it out. You would have done the exact same thing. That's the problem with the
Owen would have done the exact same thing. Which
you know who wouldn't have done it? Judd Ryder. Judd would have found a different solution.
I thought you were going to say Bobby Nash. What was I thinking? Of course you were going to say Judd fucking Ryder. Okay, here's the thing with this show. Is Owen Strand has proved that he will do all of the dumbassery as much as he wants, and it hardly ever bites him in the ass because he has plot armor because he's the straight white man that's the face of the show. However, that means all of his little ducklings are also going to do the same dumbassery, but they don't have Owen Strand plot armor. And so that means we can think critically about the choices they're making. And Marjan was blatantly ignoring the chain of command, which is a problem when you're applying for a leadership role, which she eventually acknowledged. However, in that moment after her making that call, I was like, she's not exhibiting leadership behavior because she is actively putting herself and the people around her at risk by not following orders. And yes, sometimes you have to call an audible and make a choice. However, you can be like this mythical Judd Ryder you've concocted in your brain and come up with another solution.
It is not mythical. It is Judd Ryder on screen. Judd Ryder, who has been acting captain before and has found other solutions. I don't know. I don't like the links that you insinuated about my Judd Ryder in that moment.
Hey, I am completely upfront and accepting about my opinions on one Tommy Kennard. So, you know, for the record.
Yeah, but yours is based off of a fan fiction version of a character, and mine's based on the actual show. But I will concede your point. I concede your point with that caveat, which is not actually conceding, and I know we're both aware of that.
Conceding, but I'll take it. Yeah, and then they get shit together. Paul finally somebody spots the kid's hat. Thank God. They're all searching for the kiddo. They find him in the beer, obviously. Where else would a teenage boy be? Don't know what to tell you. And they're trying to get him out, but the rods have somehow ended up in that container, like pinning him in, probably spilling over from another. I don't know. TV science, apparently.
Swords of revealing light for all of my Yu-Gi-Oh fans out there.
Correct. They get a call from the kid's brother. Successfully made it out of his operation. We love to see it. I was so terrified about not the kid, but the older brother getting the operation. So that was great. Anything else?
I call BS on him being awake that quickly.
We don't know how long this crash has lasted. They could have been on that scene for hours.
He got a heart transplant. He's going to be asleep for at least a day.
Oh shit, it was his heart, wasn't it?
It was a heart transplant. That man, wait, one, that surgery takes hours, and
Yeah.
two, he's not waking up for a very long time.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was like kidneys or some shit. If it was a heart, definitely. Yeah, you're right. That's my bad.
I think it was the heart. It's been like a week since I watched the episode.
Yeah. But yeah, that was fun. And then of course, since our paramedic team is in the clear, the cloud only has one direction to go. There's not 4 directions on a compass. It's either here or there. That's it. It's fine. So all of a sudden now the 126 firefighter team is running from the chlorine gas, and of course Owen Strand's gonna be a dumbass and stay with the kid because he made a promise. You know, the one rule you don't make. Although I will say he phrased it expertly. I promise to do the best I can to get your brother safe. I'll take it. I still don't like them using the promise word, but that's fine. And of course, who else is gonna fly to the rescue than one Judd Ryder? Take it away.
You know, we've all been wondering, what is Judd Ryder going to do without 126? And really, what is the 126 going to do without Judd Ryder? The more important question. Because obviously
now we
they've
don't
been
have to
following
ask
apart
it.
at the seams. Now we do not have to ask that question. Because Judd Ryder came in to literally save the day.
Mm-hmm.
Without any equipment, without any,
I would call an 18-wheeler some equipment.
That's fair. Without any firefighting equipment.
I'll take it, yep.
With only a radio to get information. He comes in and bulldozes the container away from the gas.
Mm-hmm. Again, because that's how that works. But it's fine. It was
Totally how it works.
As soon as it started moving, I went, "Is that Judd?" And it was. Love that.
And you know what? He stayed safe from the chlorine gas the entire time. He found a solution that didn't endanger him or the people around him. Unlike...
Did he really, though? Or is that just TV magic?
Hey, you know what? Owen Strand is not the only one who gets plot armor in this. Unfortunately, Judd Ryder's only fault is that he is also a white man. A white straight man.
Real.
That man does his best to fight against that. But it's still there.
It's still there. Yeah, that was brilliant. I do want to have a brief callback to our 911 discussion last week, where we were talking about the NPCs in the firehouse. And this episode of Lone Star, we opened basically with the NPC having a line. And I loved that for him. I was like, who is this random firefighter? Don't know, but he got a whole ass speaking line. Respect.
This reminds me of Rosie.
Oh.
Of Julie Rosen. Of OG.
Oh, Julie Rosen. Yes.
Rosie,
I love her. I miss her so dearly. We should have had more of her.
Mm-hmm. Julie Rosen of 911 Lone Star.
Love that. Good for him. Okay, let's talk about the Carlos of it all. Technically, it's kidnapping. I screamed. That was iconic.
So good. So good. Carlos, sassy Carlos, is Carlos at his best.
Absolutely. The fucking Reverend was like, if you gotta arrest me for trespassing, like, wait till their mom gets home. And Carlos was like, it's not trespassing.
It ain't trespassing.
Slightly more
Who is this
egregious.
strange man with my friend's kids? I don't care if you're in a relationship. Who is this strange man?
Right.
I would also like to say, costume department, keep buying him that brand of t-shirts.
It
Those
was a good
t-shirts fit him so well. They feel natural. They feel loose. It's not like they have a painted t-shirt on him. This isn't Oliver Stark bursting out of the seams of his shirt.
Oliver Stark painted on t-shirts.
Yeah, this is like a natural t-shirt that fits him well, but also is like looks soft and also looks so thin because every time he like moves his body, you can see everything. I like it. I like it.
That's a good one.
We love Carlos babysitting the kids. We've been asking for this since the last time he did it, which they verbally called out in the show. Reference.
Yeah.
We love a writer's room that remembers their own things that they've done.
Right.
I also love him talking with him, just being like, hey, like,
yeah.
Wow, I understand why you did what you did, but can't you also admit that what you did was kind of wrong?
Yeah, no, it was excellent. I don't think I have any notes. I thought the kids were great. The sassy look. I don't know if you grew up around a lot of twins, but the sassy look when getting called the wrong twin's name, iconic. Very true to form. It was very good.
I didn't grow up around twins, but in college, freshman year, I knew of like 7 sets of twins. The only problem is I don't know that look because I could always tell twins apart.
Good for you.
I don't know why. That's like
part.
a special skill.
Well, depending on how well I knew them. But I grew up with a lot of twins. I think in high school we had like 11 pairs throughout the grades. In a school of like 610. So it's a significant
That's a high percentage. Yeah, that's a high percentage. No, there was like 1 pair in my early elementary school. There was like 1 pair in high school. And then I knew like 7 pairs my freshman year of college. But no, that literally I was like, you're you. And they would always be surprised when I would get it right. And I was like, but you look different. Like to me, twins look different. I know that's wild to say, but to me, they look different. I don't know why. Twins look different to me.
Yeah, it depended on if they were in the era of like always dressing the same or in the era of having their actual personality shine. That made a huge difference.
To me, just like the twins have always like whenever I look at them, they hold themselves different. They hold their face differently.
I don't look at people's faces.
That very much explains it. To me, though, it's just like, I was like, yeah, that I was twins and facial blindness.
Yeah. I was pretty solid, especially if I knew them well. I could tell them apart.
Yeah.
Because like personality wise, they're like, at least the ones I knew for the most part were like completely different personalities.
Yeah.
Anyways, Carlos, big, wonderful. I think that's it. Do you have any thoughts on that storyline?
The only thing I have is the ending. Love TK and Carlos just being like, and it's time for us to go. And then Gina Torres and Gabriel from Lucifer having their whole little moment being like, yes, I'll meet your ex-wife. Like, also, I'm so sorry I did that to you. Like, yay, you were both wrong. Actually, Gina Torres wasn't wrong. But, having their little moment was great. Loved it. And, yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
All right, let's talk about the end. We get back to the firehouse. Marjan's bandages look very fake, but that's fine. And we get an impassioned... Wait, no, that's the wrong version. Impassioned, thank you. Speech about why Paul's the best. Very true. And we get a new probie. Love that. They're giving Judge shit because per department policies, he's a probie again. All right. Does he need to re-up his certifications? That was my real question. I was like, how long do your certifications last for, and when do you need to re-up? Because mine were every 2 years, so like theoretically he should be fine, unless he was like up for a recert like close to when he took an early retirement.
I think that really is the question. Also,
They're
he should
never
just
gonna
probably.
answer that for us.
They're never going to answer it. I think we can just assume that he had already. I think most of them. I think the show at best will remember like one recertification that he has to do, and it'll be a plot line in like an episode or two, and that'll be it. Mm-hmm. But like, not all of his certifications, because I don't think the show will want to deal with the fact of how many certifications that Judd Ryder has to have.
Yeah.
Well, we also know his driving permit is up to date, so he can still drive the fire truck.
Yes.
That has been confirmed.
That has been confirmed. Yeah, but we'll see. In that whole scene, though, we had some lovely quips. Mateo's running his mouth again, and Paul's like, "You ever just have a thought that stays in there?"
No.
No, he does not. And I so respect him for that. Relatable. And then also, Mateo, again, was running his mouth. And Owen Strand was like, there's still room for another probie. And he did the whole, like, lips shut, zip. Loved it. Anyways, we finally get an ending to this saga of who will win the lieutenancy. With Marjan, what's the word? Renouncing,
yeah.
For the lieutenant.
Pulling her name from consideration.
Yeah. So, Lieutenant Paul is here to stay. I'm gonna cry. I'm so happy for him. I'm so excited. I love to see trans people winning. It's great.
I think this was the best way for them to go about it, without what we talked about last week.
Mm-hmm.
I think it worked. I think it made sense. I cannot wait for us to discover what it is that Owen whispered to Marjan afterwards. I think that's going to be a plot. The fact that they made a point to not tell us, makes me feel like we're going to find out at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's just like, I'm so proud of you thing. Because it's weird to think about, but there are 4 qualified lieutenants at the 126. All of their firefighters are qualified lieutenants.
All of the main cast.
Yes, all of the main cast are qualified lieutenants. Judd was the lieutenant for however long.
Yeah.
Paul is now a lieutenant.
Mateo was at the.
Mateo was already a lieutenant. Yeah,
where
something
was he
like that.
Somewhere
he's already been a lieutenant. And then Marjan not getting the lieutenancy does not mean that Marjan was not qualified for lieutenancy.
Yeah, she tied in her written lieutenancy exam. The record.
For the all-time record.
School. Good for her. That was lovely. Overall, what are your feelings on this episode? How do you feel it? Like, where would you place it within the trilogy? Give me a vibe check.
This is really strange. Yeah, I think overall, I feel like Lone Star isn't trying to go out with a bang. It feels like Lone Star is trying to go out with dignity. Mm-hmm. And I think I respect that.
I respect it so hard.
Yeah,
it feels dignity and Lone Star in a hot minute. It's a nice
return
to form.
It's a nice return to form. It feels like Lone Star is just trying to make entertaining television. Like, that seems to be its goal. And
they're succeeding.
And they are succeeding. Is it groundbreaking? No. Is it like the best procedural television show? No. But that's not what I go to Lone Star for anyway.
No. Me neither.
Really, I just go for Doug Ryder and Tommy Vega.
You've made that very abundant this episode.
I've made that violently clear, I think. I think it's been violent.
A little bit.
This is what happens when you have boozy JJ. I just start lusting after... Wait, what's the actor? Patrick something. Patrick's not...
No.
It's Patrick, right?
Is it?
Hold up. I should know this actor's name.
You should. On that note, yeah, it was fabulous. I really enjoyed this. I think it was a great end to this arc. I'm excited to see what they do next. As per usual, I have no clue what's happening in the next episode, and I'm sure you know everything.
Oh, I'm not going to tell you.
Great.
It's Jim Parrack, or Parrack.
Jim Parrack.
Eric?
That's right.
Eric?
I was going to say, I thought it was not.
That's why Patrick... I understand why Patrick was in my mind, but yeah. Jim Parrack.
Mm-hmm.
Love you, man.
Obviously.
Just applause. Just applause.
Yeah. You know what I loved?
OG?
Every single fucking second of OG episode 3. Holy fucking shit. This is a good one. I had a lot of questions in my notes. Most of my notes were just quotes. So my first question was, who was the director of photography? Because this episode, very pretty. It was gorgeous. Including an iconic shot that I do not have pulled up, that I can get pulled up if you riff for a second.
Yeah, it is very pretty. The whole, I think this whole, they really went with this whole disaster. These first 3 episodes have all been shot. It feels like it's like 911 just turned up a little bit. Like they feel like very 911 shots, but it just feels like they are utilizing their people just a little bit more. I think some new people have come on. We're doing we're doing a fresh spin on ideas and things that we've known. It just feels very classic, also feeling new and fresh. And I think that direction is very good.
I do not have the actual photo saved, but I do have our thumbnail. So you get this gorgeous shot of Bobby staring at the nose of the plane with our lovely logo in there, if I do say so myself. I'm going to quickly take... Anyways, so yeah, it was beautiful. It was shot by Andrew Mitchell, who this is his first 911 credit, but did 5 episodes of Lone Star, known for American Horror Story. I want to check what, I think he did 1 season. Yeah, it looks like season 10. Good for him. Haven't watched it. Anyways, it was very pretty. And then the writer for this episode was Tim fucking Minear himself, along with Ted Griffin, who I did not look up. I don't know what else he did. Probably more Lone Star, because apparently this is the season of stealing every writer and creator from Lone Star. I lied. He has done just OG, and he wrote episode 2 and episode 3. So not the first episode of this arc, but the second 2.
A lot of writers from 911 went to Doctor Odyssey, and a lot of Tim Minear took some people from Lone Star when he went back to OG with the switch. So there is kind of like this shift that has kind of happened. There's several 911 writers on Doctor Odyssey.
Yeah, I was just surprised because I remember episode 1 had 2 new writers. They were from Lone Star, but they were not Tim. And so he popped in with this Ted Griffin for episodes 2 and 3. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I think that's it. That's all I got. This episode was fun. Again, lots of good quips. I feel like the writing these 2 episodes have been pretty darn solid. And I'm already losing my train of thought. So you want to take over talking about this episode?
Sure. Well, let's talk about the greatest quip of the whole episode was,
Okay.
I didn't even know he was British.
Yeah, that was a good one. Bobby and Buck and the actor dude sitting in the stolen, acquired fire truck. Borrowed. I think borrowed was the word they used. And then the actor dude, Brad, apparently, was like, borrowed. I like that. And Buck was like, say that again. And he said borrowed again. And he was like, I didn't even know he was British, which was so hilarious. I loved the meta commentary there. It was brilliant. It was excellent. No notes.
It was even better because we waited 3 episodes for it. Like, we knew it was coming. Like, Brad has been on the show. This is his 3rd episode. Everyone's been talking about Evan Buckley with a British accent for so long. Like, just making us wait for the joke made it so much sweeter.
I know there's been an ongoing thing if people want to have a Buck concussion episode where he talks with a British accent or whatever, and just have Oliver Stark use his natural accent. I think that'd be I like it in fan fiction. I don't think I would like it on screen. However, I feel like this was a great nod to it. I think it got me just enough.
Well, I think that one of the things that I don't like about it in real life is Oliver Stark doesn't just change his accent. Like, when you are doing accent work, it's really common for you to change not just the way that you form the words, but to change your speech pattern, to change your pitch. And Oliver Stark does all of that with his Buck voice is not the same voice.
He moves his mouth weird when he talks in his normal accent. It's weird. He completely changes the way he shapes words on his lips. I cannot speak true to that man when he's talking in his normal accent. It's very different.
He also speaks much lower, and also he speaks with much more vocal gravel, with much more resistance, and with a lot higher pressure but lower volume of air, and which makes sense why he does the opposite for Buck, because he's speaking for hours and hours on end, doing take after take after take. I think there's a lot of just speaking in a way to keep it's something that's sustainable. Yeah, sustainable. Versus when he's Oliver Stark and he's just living his life. But so I think if he was to talk in his natural accent, if he talked the way that Oliver Stark does, it wouldn't just be an accent change. And I think the voice is just so particular for Buck that it would just not be Buck anymore.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, it was the best. It was the greatest quip of the episode, which is saying something, because the second greatest quip of the episode was "Welcome to Los Angeles."
When was that?
When Athena lands the plane and they stare at each other from the cockpit, and Bobby standing on the thing. He opens up. He goes to the phone and goes, "Welcome to Los Angeles."
Oh, that's right. That was hilarious. The funniest thing was in that entire the British scene, the line that really got me was "It's called acting, son."
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
That was the line that got me. The Athena. Most of these are Athena's. But when she was talking to ATC and was like, "We're taking the freeway."
That was good.
Iconic. We got to see
I
Buck on a motorcycle again. We haven't seen that in a hot minute. I thoroughly enjoyed that.
I think the funniest thing is that Oliver Stark has gotten so big. Like, he is just such a large, broad human being that as soon as you cut to him on the motorcycle, it's just so obvious it's not him because his stunt double just can't be that broad. Like, she's just not that broad anymore. And who even knows if it is his normal stunt double or if it's his, like, it's just like someone they got to ride the motorcycle. But that ain't him.
No.
Or if it is him, I would be
think
shocked
it
if it was
was.
him. I do not think it was. Because
No.
like the cut of the camera was so obvious. That him putting on the helmet was so obvious. It was just he looked like so much smaller. And it's just Oliver Stark's so big.
And I think
now.
the angle didn't help with that one, with where the camera was positioned as the bike was taking off. But still, that man is so broad. Like,
He's so
whoever
muscled.
was on
Like,
that motorcycle was not giving, like, Dorito Man like he should be.
Oliver Stark ain't no Dorito man. Love Oliver Stark. He ain't no Dorito man.
I feel like he's been kind of lately.
Dorito Man is about being like it's like toned and it's like like Oliver Stark is just like wall.
I feel like his shoulders and his chest look a lot bigger than his hips.
I disagree. I think his hips are very like square and solid. Like good. They're good hips. Like I think that the stunt double looks more Dorito.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. I don't know. I don't look at men enough. I really don't give a fuck. Either way, those shoulders were not broad enough to be
not
a convincing Evan Buckley.
Evan Buckley has more of like an hourglass shape.
Whatever. If you say so, JJ.
Oh no, don't hold. But I will find you. I'll show you what I'm talking about.
Again, I don't care about this man enough to have any stake in this argument.
I also loved him waving the
so ineffectively. So many cars flew by, completely ignoring him. But yeah, those two. I can't believe. Okay, that's my first gripe with that scene. I do not believe that a prop truck had real flares on board. What do you mean? What do you mean by that? No, absolutely not. There's no way that those were real flares. But good for them, you know? Anyways.
Truly good for them. Truly good. I do love the picture that's going around of it's like the angle where it's like full on, like it's straight on, and and he's holding the flares, and it's a side by side of him and Wanda Maximoff doing her magic. It's so good.
Brilliant. That's a good one. I'm just gonna run through again what I have. We got the scene of the reporter talking about the plane going down and how it missed LAX and then how the freeway got shut down. And he's like, that can't be where the Atlantic. And I think Josh was like, oh, you sweet naive man. Fucking love
Oh
it.
my gosh. Oh, love Josh. More screen time for Josh, please. More gay quips from Josh.
We love a gay quip. We haven't gotten a lot since, oh god, what's her name? Starts with an S. Dispatcher lady. She's the one with the car that, with the woman. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I know who you're talking about. I can't think of it, though.
I don't know. I miss her. Big a presence.
I miss her, too. I know who you're talking about, though.
Mm-hmm.
They just can't afford that many people on 911 anymore. That's the real tea.
For real. But yeah, Athena lands the plane as they continue doing CPR on the only certified pilot on board. She's in the cockpit with the kiddo. Kiddo apparently has never successfully landed a plane in all of his simulations. Relatable. They put the plane down. We get that badass shot of the nose coming right up to Bobby that we mentioned earlier. And then, oh gosh, what's his name? Starts with a D. Emmett's killer. You know who I'm talking about.
Yes, yes.
Anyways, he was like, somebody say amen. And the people shouted, amen. And I lost it. So real. Bobby runs up and starts barking orders, even though he's like on the outs and kind of like been removed from duty. It's fine. And then Chimney's like,
he's not a captain, but he's still a firefighter. He's just assigned.
Yeah, he's on special assignment, and the special assignment is bullshit to get him out of our business. Which sucks for him, but apparently is great for us in this episode. And Chimney just goes, so wait, Bobby's the IC? And he's like, I'm just gonna go with it.
Asking the real questions. Exactly. Asking the true real questions. Thank you, Chimney. What Chimney is here for?
And I love Hen just being like, I'm not asking questions, because that's me, you know? If I show up and somebody starts barking orders and I'm like, are you really in charge? I'm not even gonna question it. We'll figure it out.
You know, you're acting in charge, so yeah. If you're acting in charge, I'm just gonna believe you're in charge.
Mm-hmm. I don't even remember what it was, after they were wrapping up, we got everybody off the plane, even though it caught on fire. They're rescued. Athena has hella smoke inhalation because she does not have those firefighter lungs. It's fine. And they're walking away. And Bobby's like, oh, and like all this chaos, like I forgot to ask, like what happened to Gerard? And Chimney's like, Buck put him in the hospital. And then he's like, I could explain, but I think it'd be more fun not to. Also real. Chimney was killing it this episode.
Honestly, Chimney just being the real comedic relief of 911.
Yeah. And I loved how gently intimate Bobby and Athena felt throughout this whole episode, the phone call, but especially the parking garage moment. They're walking up, they're looking for the black book, so they can take care of whoever's trying to take out Harris, I think is his last name. I don't know. I cannot remember this man's name. Whatever.
Dennis.
It's Dennis something. Mm-hmm. And they find the car. It is the hot car. Dennis is right about that. Bobby finds the black book, which is a literal black notebook with these like QR codes, which was absolutely hilarious from like a props department standpoint.
Oh yeah.
And Athena's like, can I borrow your phone? Mine's dead. And Bobby quips back, that's what you get for being on your phone all day. I lost my shit. I was like, we got so much of them this episode being so married. Like they were
so
married in such a genuine and like understated way. Like usually like especially TV relationships, it's always like cranked up to 10. You're like seeing like very big portrayals of relationships, and this was so gentle and so understated and felt so real and like authentic, and I was eating that shit up.
It was so much like the Bobby and Athena that has like grown. Like it's the Bobby and Athena we have grown to see, not the Bobby and Athena that's been like. There's so many times that we've seen Bobby and Athena struggle or have moments of, like in their relationship where they're not on the same page,
conflict or like strife.
Yeah. So it was great. It was great to see them go through the opening disaster on the same page. Like they're on the same page the whole time, and it just makes it so watchable. Like when you have actors like Peter Krause and Angela Bassett I'm not going to say the top of their game, but like at their most like using every bit of their experience, like bringing their entire skill set, which is massive, to this. It works. It makes it work.
It does work. It works really well. You know who also is putting in the work? Gerard. Unseen.
People.
We're going through the lineup. He's being his usual self. His head's all bandaged up. Eddie makes a really innuendo-like joke comment that was great. And then Gerard gets to a kind of a sniveling buck. Like, he's like lip tremble and all. And just like bear hugs him. I was like, you saved my life, basically. It's like, you feel this? It's me taking you under my wing. It's great. It was brilliant. We talked about how much we adore this actor last week, but he put in the work, you know? He showed up and earned his paycheck.
It's like, I'm kind of excited. Like, this entire hiatus, everyone's always been like, get Gerard off of this show. I don't want him here anymore. And I'm like,
he's going to be miserable.
Everyone's going to be miserable with him here, but I want him to be here to make everyone miserable.
Yeah. I'm glad he has not been, like, overtly, you know, racist or homophobic. He's just kind of been discriminating against everyone, which, fair enough. But what we are getting from him is so, like, awful and miserable and slimy in the best way. It is great television.
It's so good. It's so much like... It's conflict that's entertaining without being, like... without being like, there is the emotional labor of watching, and especially for like viewers of color, of watching like a racist be on screen. But like the way that everyone is acknowledging that this is a problem, and I think that's a main difference, is that often we have these characters where no one is acknowledging that it's a problem, but every person on screen besides Gerard is acknowledging that it's a problem. And that just makes it so much easier to watch.
Yeah, and like so much of it is like these characters understanding the power and privilege he holds over them and choosing to make the decision that's best for them. And you can't always, you know, be in the place where you can correct or, you know, change a behavior that is problematic or racist or like blatantly discriminatory. And so for every single character to recognize like, hey, this is a problem, this fucking sucks, we're in this together, we have each other's backs, and we just got to get through this until we can get Gerard out of here, I feel like does make a difference.
Okay, I do not know why I can't find this image. I found one image of why it's Evan Buckley that shows you that he's not Dorito. The other one I'm trying to find is him on the rooftop in the first episode when it goes to his back, when he's like leaning over. And that's the one that makes him look hourglass shaped. Okay. I can't find that. But here's the one that makes like, that's just like, was like shows that he's not Dorito. Yeah.
Alright, this is I
just sent it.
Okay.
That is not a Dorito man.
This is a very specific angle that will make anybody look blocky, but also I concede your point.
I was just like, that's why I wanted. That's why I wanted the back shot, because the back shot is just like he literally kind of just goes. Ooh.
Again, JJ, I will reiterate, I don't look at that man very often. And most of the time I do, it's like belly button to like couple inches above his head.
To be fair, so one of the reasons is that I've been looking at Oliver Stark a lot recently because I've been comparing Oliver Stark's model poses to Ryan Guzman's model poses, because Ryan Guzman he just had the book of Ryan Guzman come out, which Oliver Stark did last year. It's like it's a publication, it's a magazine.
Okay.
And so it's the picture of Oliver Stark where he's like sitting down on the ground in the white t-shirt and he's got like the toothpick in his mouth. Anyway, a lot of Oliver Stark photos that are like really famous come from this magazine show, and Ryan Guzman just did it, and he just did a big interview, and he did a big promotional press tour.
Those two.
Yes, because a lot of it's the same publication, it's the same photographer, and a lot of the poses are the same. And it's very, very clear which of the two of them has had model experience, like as a job, like we're paid to do it, and one who is an actor who is in this position where he now has to model. And that's not to say that either one of them is not a very, very attractive man. He just sometimes doesn't know how to pose his body. And that would be Oliver Stark. I'm just going to say it. I've been vague. Oliver Stark does not know how to pose his body, but that's okay because he's not a model. Like, that's not what he does for a living. Ryan Guzman spent a lot of time being a model. And, like, how he paid the bills for, like, in between his random things that he did at acting-wise for a while was taking photographs and learning how to sell clothes and sell his body in a photograph. In a non-sexual way.
I thought you were just going to end that sentence there, and it did make me giggle a little bit, so thank you for that.
It's just like the differences become very, very clear. And so I have been looking at Oliver Stark's body a lot. So when you said he was Dorito-shaped, I was like, no, this is a very attractive man who is not Dorito-shaped. Let him not be Dorito-shaped.
All right. Again, I've already conceded.
I'm too buzzy to remember that. All right, what is the next plot point?
We did it. We got through it. It's final thoughts time.
It's true. Final thoughts. I'm so excited to see what happens with Oliver and Gerard. I'm so excited to see what happens with Eddie, Buck, and Gerard. I think that, like, the way that the relationship between Buck and Eddie, that solidness is going to change because Buck doesn't have Bobby to go to. And Gerard, like, I think a lot of the interviews have talked about how Eddie might be a little alone, but I think Gerard is also going to really isolate Buck in a way because of his, like, Buck is going to have to put on a mask. And he's going to have to learn how to put on a mask. And I think that's going to be really fascinating. And I think it's also going to be, I worry about 911's propensity to give redemption arcs to characters that don't need redemption arcs.
Cough, Buckley parents, cough.
But I think it'd be really interesting for Buck to have to address his privilege in a lot of ways. And not just his, I do not think the show is going to address his white male privilege, but thinking about the privilege, like privileges that he has gotten subsequently because of that. Like, he got into a firehouse with a captain who knew how to help raise him into the man that he is going to be. That is a privilege.
Yeah.
Evan Buckley would not still be a firefighter if Bobby Nash was not his captain. And I think him addressing
He would have been
that,
fired like 5 times over.
he'd be fired 5 times over. Evan Buckley in another firehouse would not survive in his current state. And so, like, for Evan Buckley to progress, I think him learning how to address those difficulties that he has with, like, a lot of those things I think are connected to the fact that Buck very clearly has ADHD, very clearly, like, and he is... The rest of the world is not kind to Evan Buckley's.
Yeah.
And I think...
And I'm just so freaking thrilled that hopefully we're going to get some character growth from one Evan Buckley. That's not just we're going to revert him to his previous iteration at the beginning of season and work through the exact same growth arc 3 seasons in a row.
Evan, I have high hopes that Evan Buckley is off the hamster wheel. And I think that that's great.
Fucking God. I'm so tired of this goddamn hamster wheel.
You know what? I think they were too. And they said it. They said it themselves. He was on a hamster wheel.
Brilliant. All right, this was fun. Do we have any predictions for next week's episodes? I don't.
I can't say my predictions because I've seen the trailer.
Great. I don't even know what the storylines are. Oh, wait. For OG, it's going to be the Hen Ren Foster license storyline episode, right? Yes, I did see that on the press website. Summary for the next episode.
Look at you.
I do want to share with the audience. I usually pull all the episode thumbnails, pictures from the ABC Press website. Now that they are no longer on Fox, I do have access to them. Thank you, ABC. Thank you, Disney, for making those publicly available without a media outlet. God bless you. Fox denied us like twice. It's fine. But I really wanted that shot of the plane I showed earlier. So I did have to figure out how to take a screenshot of a playback player on Hulu on a computer so that I could acquire said screenshot. And it was kind of a pain in the ass, but I did it successfully, and it's a little fuzzy, but it's fine because I got the shot I wanted. And that's all that matters. So forgive me if the thumbnail's not as fabulous as it usually is.
You know what? The amount of work that you do for this show behind the scenes is very much appreciated.
Thank you. I could do more, but I really just do just enough.
I think that's the spirit of Served Up Sundays. Honestly, really I think I'd be mad unless we had a full in-depth conversation, because then if you didn't do the bare minimum, I would feel bad about me doing the bare minimum, which is what I do. So if we want to have a conversation about that
every week, and that's all I ask for you. I like doing the back end stuff. It's fun.
Hey, if you ever, again, this isn't a conversation for off air, but if we ever needed to turn up either of our knobs for whatever reason, we can always have that conversation.
We can have that conversation. However, I like the show how it is, which is you and I show up to a weekly FaceTime, get a little tipsy, and yell about things, and then have it preserved on the internet for the world to see.
I cannot wait for the day that, like, I meet Gina Torres or Jim Perrick or someone, and they're like, I saw a clip of you, and I'm like,
I really hope they don't. We don't have numbers for that. Like, there's no reason we should be on, like, their PR team's radar. If we are, we're doing something real wrong.
Oof. You know, I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be okay.
I really enjoy those, like, 5 core audience members. I love you so dearly. Thank you for showing up.
We do love y'all.
The rest of y'all are fine too. But those 5 that show up every week, I see you and you have my whole heart. I think 2 of those 5
Tell
are
us how
us,
much
but
you
it's
love
fine.
us. Tell us how much you love. Honestly, those 5 is just the Will Throw the After Party group.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, if you're watching this and you've gotten to this point, please leave a comment. We don't get a lot of comments on this show, which is fine because we do it for ourselves, really. But if you've stuck with us this far into this episode, we would really appreciate hearing from you because you're awesome and we want to give you your flowers for putting up with us. And with that, I do not have a question of the week. I should have thought of that. Do you have any questions of the week this week?
I do have a question of the week. If you had to be one version of prepared potatoes, what version of prepared potatoes would you be?
That's a great question. I'm
Thank
not
you.
a big potato person, unfortunately. It's a texture and overexposure thing. So there's a lot of versions of potato I cannot eat. However, my preferred version of potato would probably be tots.
I love it. Love
I love
tots.
tots.
That's a great answer.
It's probably my favorite.
Tots is a great answer. I think my answer, low and slow roasted potatoes with lots of seasoning. Like, I want them deeply colored, crunch, like a good solid layer of crunch, soft on the inside, low and slow, lots of seasoning, roasted potatoes.
That's a good one. I do
chopped up
love
small, chopped up very,
a twice baked.
Love a twice
with
baked.
some little additions in there. And when I'm really depressed, I will get curly fries because they do make life better.
I see you, Style Stilinski.
You say that every time I make any sort of vague mention of curly fries. And I feel a little called out.
If you can self-diagnose yourself as TK, I can diagnose you as Style Stilinski.
Oh,
I don't think this call-out was even today.
Out. No, you've double called me out this episode, and I have 0 called you out. So that just
I was like,
I'm gonna come in roaring next episode. Just be prepared.
I hope so. I was like, you couldn't even really call me out on my Jim Reiner obsession because I was actively calling myself out for it.
Yeah. Real.
I think my favorite. I said my favorite. I think my second favorite way is I do love a mashed potato skin on. Like, so I will take mini potatoes, baby potatoes, roast them, get them or boil them, whatever was easiest for me at the time. And then I will throw them in a stand mixer, skin on. Like, I won't take the skin off. Lots of butter, lots of cream, lots of salt, lots of garlic. Blend them up real quick. And I love skin on mashed potatoes. I know that's weird. I think they're great. I love skin. I love potato skins.
If I was going to force myself to eat a mashed potato, it would be your skin on mashed potatoes.
I appreciate that. That is I never got to cook for you while I was in Seattle, which was good because we were eating busy. We were very busy.
You can come to my apartment. I have a full kitchen.
Sounds great. I have a place to crash in the city next time. So
you do. I have fit 3 sleeping apparatuses in this studio apartment before, with 3 people occupying it. So you and I will be just fine.
We'll be great. This sounds great. This sounds like a plan. We'll make it work. We'll make it happen.
Lovely. All right. On that note.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Oh, where can they find us?
Oh, fuck. Where can you find the... yeah. Where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me everywhere at JJBWatch. On Twitter, I refuse to call it its other name. You can find me on TikTok. I just posted a Merlin TikTok today.
You did. I saw it.
I was very boozy when I posted it, and I discovered literally after I posted it, that there's just 3 typos and 2 grammar mistakes in it. And I do that all the flippin' time. I will make TikTok because when I am a little tipsy, I don't have as much self-consciousness, and so my ideas are much more readily so I will make TikToks a lot when I'm tipsy sometimes, and my spelling is awful then, and my grammar is awful, and I feel very self-conscious about it after the fact. But the problem is it's already been posted for 2 hours, and there's already 20,000 views, and I'm like, what the fuck? I can't change it now. So I think some people just think I'm illiterate. I promise I'm illiterate. I promise I can spell. I'm a very good speller. I do know the difference between there, and your. I'm just tipsy when I make TikToks. Anyway, enjoy. Yeah. Where can they find you?
You can find me on DC Graduates. What's the latest thing I posted? Oh, we kicked off season 2 with Batman Year 1. That was a great conversation. We're really excited to dive into some more origins stories with our 2nd season of the podcast. Definitely check it out. And if you don't want to watch DC animated movies, I love listening to podcasts about movies I'm never going to watch ever in my life. So even anywhere from never seen this film before to huge fan of this movie, there is space for all of you within this show. We have a great time breaking it down, talking about who's involved in the creative team, breaking down the themes of the movies, and just overall having a blast. So definitely check that out. And as has been made very clear by this show, I am no longer on the internet, and I get all of my news from one JJ once a week. And that's fabulous. Exactly how I want it. So until next time, catch you later.